Our first session is focused on the most important aspect, which is breathing. Breathing is the key to getting the pelvic floor to move. And when we get this aspect right, we bring breathing into every exercise we practice. When we get stronger with our exercises coordinated with breathing, we bring this coordination into our daily life. And the more often throughout the day that we're moving the pelvic floor with our breathing patterns, the pelvic floor is getting exercised, it's getting blood flow, and it's getting used throughout the day. Contrast that with perhaps what you're experiencing right now, where your pelvic floor is simply stuck in one position. So we're going to get that pelvic floor moving all day long with good breathing patterns. I'm going to teach you a few techniques on how to evaluate your own breathing and a few cues on how to move it towards the direction that we want. Okay? So the first thing is close your eyes, lie on your back, take a deep breath, and feel which parts of your body are moving when you take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, notice which parts of your body are moving there. Okay? So for many of us that have pelvic pain, we get a lot of movement in one area of the body. Okay? So some of us are rib breathers. So we only breathe forward into the ribs. Go ahead and let's all take a rib-centered breath. We're going to inhale and try to expand the front of the ribs. And then as you exhale, try to draw the ribs down towards the ground or down towards your bed or your yoga mat, wherever you're lying. Okay, our next aspect is notice if your chest, your upper chest and your collarbones are moving as you inhale. So go ahead and take a breath all the way up into your collarbones and feel what that's like. And then as you exhale, notice what parts of your body are moving there. Okay? Now we're going to bring our attention lower towards the lower abdomen. So I'll have you put one hand lower than your umbilicus, your navel, and one hand on your lower ribs. So Willie, we'll put your hand right here. And so the technique of trying to get more movement of the breath down into the pelvic floor, we're going to focus on breathing down, lower. So try to fill up your lower hand towards the lower abdomen first on your inhale. So here we go, let's do it together. Breathe into that lower hand. Nice, Willie. And then as you exhale, try to allow that lower abdomen to draw down towards the ground first. Yeah. And if you're still focused on the ribs, that's okay, because something else I should mention is that there's no wrong way to breathe, because we're all alive, okay? If we're breathing, we're living. We're just doing this as trying to give you some contrast, give your body something new to feel a different experience and get your pelvic floor moving differently than it is right now. So as you continue breathing, try to get that lower hand filling up with air. And then we try to lengthen out the breaths. Yeah, nice expansion in the lower abdomen and lower ribs. And then as you exhale, you draw the lower abdomen in, you draw the lower ribs in. Okay? So that's our first technique with breathing, is filling up the lower chamber first, and then the middle chamber, and then the upper chamber. So that all relates to the front of the body. So now, what about the other aspects of the diaphragm and how it relates to the pelvic floor? So our next cue, we're going to bring the hands to the sides of the ribs. And I want you to see if you can expand into the sides of the ribs. So feel like your rib cage and your abdomen are expanding outwards as you take an inhale, and then drawing together as you exhale. And take the longest, slowest, most gentle breaths that you possibly can. And as we're doing this, again, the inhale, we're making the body as wide as possible. And then we're making the body as narrow, left to right, as possible. Does that feel good, Willie? Yeah, man, good job. Now, for some of us with really tight hip flexors, if this is difficult, what we might do is put a pillow underneath the knees, because what that does, it puts a little slack on the hip flexors. And so there's a, it's a good opportunity to talk about why are we getting this dysfunction. It's usually related to how all of the tissue in the body is relating to one another. And so as we go through this process, we're gonna have the opportunity to try to evaluate and unlock which tissues are the most problematic for you. So our final aspect with breathing that we're gonna touch on in this module is breathing into the back, okay? We've so far talked about expanding the lower abdomen, expanding the lower ribs, then expanding the chest. Then we discussed breathing down into the outer rib cage and the outer abdomen. Now, I want you to feel your back muscles fill up with air, okay? These are just visual cues. You're trying to expand your back muscles as you inhale, and then you're trying to allow your back muscles to recoil as you exhale. So whether you're dealing with pelvic pain, with low back pain, a sacrum pain, these breath techniques have a powerful ability to move all the viscera, to unlock tightness in these areas, to improve blood flow to these tissues, and to calm the nervous system down. Okay, so one more time together. Let's do it all together. Let's make it 3D breathing, okay? 3 dimensions. We're inhaling, expanding the front, the sides, the back, and now down into the pelvic floor. As you exhale, all those aspects come closer together to the center, visualizing like right around the center of your diaphragm or the center of your gut. That's where we contract down into. As you inhale, you get 3-dimensional expansion into all those directions. If it's most helpful to focus on one direction, that's fine for now. Go at your own pace. How does that feel, Willie?
Feels good.
Yeah, man. Let's get in a couple more breaths here. You're doing a great job through the nose. What tissues do you feel are moving the easiest for you?
It's probably the lower back.
That's awesome. That's a good skill. So then you take that area of the body that's moving great on you, that might be a little bit new, and you just focus on that if you need a win. And then as you start to explore more of these other areas that are maybe a little difficult to use, like the breathing down into the pelvic floor, you take the strength and you add the harder component. So now you're breathing into your back and you try to breathe down into your butt, like into your sit bones. Okay. Yeah, thank you for trying this module with me. Come back to this one again and again. If you ever progress too fast, you need to come back to the breathing. Get your breathing right first. Okay, let me know how it goes.